All right, question. So I started thinking, because that's how you form a question. You think. No. Anyway, I started thinking, though we know we're not like as Christians, we're not like supposed to cuss and we're not supposed to do this and that or whatever. I started thinking, I'm like, well, knowing that there's still people okay with it, knowing, you know, anyway, yeah, that there's still Christians saying that, it's, oh, it is what it is, whatever. Um, just kind of thinking with that whole step up when we step in mentality. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check my video. It's called Step Up When We Step In. Anyway, um, what would we think as Christians if we saw or heard our favorite like Christian artist cussing up a storm or talking about inappropriate things, or singing other people's songs that are like super high sexual content, or self gratification kind of content or something like that or whatever. So what would we think? Or what about like what of our pastors? Um, while they were up on the stage and they were preaching or whatever on the altar or whatever, and they started preaching and whatnot, and then they just started like kind of cussing here between words or whatever. What would we think? Like, would we go like, "Whoa, they shouldn't do that," or would it be like "Oh, you know what? I do that too." The reason why I kind of got in my mind is because kind of going off my other video standards. If you haven't seen it, go check that out. Standards. Anyway. Um, so I think sometimes people think that just because certain people at a certain platform, that they are obligated to be better or whatever, and those who aren't on those platforms get the green card of like, hey, it's okay, I can do whatever I want to do. I think that's totally wrong. I mean, God has given us all a platform. No, we may not actually be up on the main stage. No, we might not be coming out with records or whatever. But He's given us a platform, most of which are platforms we don't even know we're on. Certain people that we influence and we don't even know. Again, that's going back to the standards video. But anyway, so my question is, what would we think as Christians if we heard our Christian, you know, authors writing down stuff that they shouldn't be writing down? Rather, it's like cussing here and there, or high sexual content, or talking about getting all the money and different guys and girls or whatever getting with each other, and um, or our Christian artists doing the same thing, or even our pastors doing it on stage. What would be the thought? Um, if the thought is like, whoa, they shouldn't because of who they are, or because of the platform that they are, um, then I would have to turn that question back around and be like, well, do you do that? And if so, how come? Again, if it goes back to the whole thing, like, don't think just because someone's a pastor that they're like up here, so they have to be perfect and you can do whatever you want. That's not the case. Yes, by them being in a leadership role, they will definitely have a bigger burden to carry. That doesn't mean that allows anybody who's not a pastor to do whatever they want to do. You know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at? Um, so yeah, it was just a thought. What would we think? And if we think, whoa, they shouldn't, then why do we still do it? Or why do we think it's okay for us to go watch movies that we know we shouldn't be watching, or listen to music that we shouldn't be listening to, or saying things that we shouldn't be saying, or whatever, or acting a certain way? What would we think if we saw our pastor getting super upset and just cussing up a storm at somebody, if it's like at the mall or something like that, or sitting in a line at Walmart waiting for the register person to like stop taking their sweet old time? What would happen if we walk by and we see them like lose it and they start throwing a fit, or they start complaining left and right? What kind of thoughts would we have about them? And then why do we still do it? So that's the only question I had. Yep.